recording the meeting. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for being here. Christine and I are delighted to see you all. And thank you again for volunteering to be involved with the assessment program. Okay, so basically, let's get started by going around and introducing ourselves. I mean, majority of you are not new to this meeting, but we'll just take a quick minute or two to let you know, not so much who we are. I think everybody knows everybody, but it's a matter of what's your role. Okay, what's your role in assessment? Okay, so I'll go first. I'm Marianne Smith, a math faculty, and I'm an assessment co-chair. And Christine, you go next.
I'm Christine Mark. I'm also assessment co-chair this year, and I am also the coordinator of the ESL program, as well as the representative for our campus for international ed.
Okay.
And English ESL faculty. Sorry.
Okay. Rather than just waiting for people to jump in, how about if I tap you based on where you are on my screen? Okay, Brielle, you're next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brielle Rawlings-Dubé. I'm behavioral sciences faculty, and I'm super excited to join the assessment committee.
Okay. Tim, you're up next.
Good morning, everyone. Tim Budworth, Associate Vice President of Technology. I have no idea why I'm on this committee, but I guess I'm probably representing the Admin Services Division is my best guess. So
you're here as a provider of resources, Tim, in case you didn't realize that. Liz, you're up next.
Good morning, everybody. I am the assessment coach for CFAS, and I run our storytelling program.
Stephanie?
Hi, everybody. Stephanie Allen, faculty librarian, and the library is part academic and part student services. So we have a blended type of assessment program.
Okay. Dan?
Hi, everyone. My name is Dan LaCapa. I'm the Learning Resource Center Director, tutoring, student help desk, things like that. That's me.
Carl?
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm Carl Weitzel. I am the Math, Science, and Engineering Assessment Fellow, and I am the Program Coordinator for the Engineering Program.
And last
and I
but
have
not
something
least,
really snarky to say about Tim based on his comment.
well, you can trade snarks later, okay? Travis, you're not last but not least.
Travis Mann, the Dean of Academic Affairs. I support the VPA office with all the assessment and all encompassing. So good to see you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And two folks, again, besides our student affairs representatives, which are Dr. Scott Lucero from Student Life and Callan from Advising. Not present currently is Rich Morales from MCL-CTL, and he's the assessment fellow for that division. And Mary Nunn, who is the representative for the CTL, and she is also not here today. Okay. So the first thing we'd like to do is share this agenda with you and kind of go through it step by step. Hopefully, folks have gotten a chance to, take a look at the agenda, okay, before you signed on. And if not, let's see what that looks like. Okay, so can everybody see the agenda? Okay. Again, when I'm sharing, I can't see you. So again, feel free to like shout out. Okay. All right. So what's at the beginning of the agenda are our meeting dates for fall and spring, and links to resource documents. Okay. So just to go quickly through these, we have our academic program review template, our program review rubric. Okay, for the academic side. Stephanie, I apologize, I don't have the academic non-instructional ones in here, but I can put them in here if you like. And then essentially we also have the program assessment plan, which all of the assessment fellows have filled out as well as all of the leads in your division. And then this program aligned assessment form, which is the document that Christine and I need back from you at the end of each semester. Okay, so the information that's required in this form is going to be driving how you collect your assessment data. Okay, and it's super important based on our past experience. It's super important that every program use this form to report your data, because we're compiling it into a spreadsheet. So the data we collect has to be roughly similar for every program. Otherwise, we can't summarize it. Okay, and in the past, we've gotten some lovely narrative descriptions of assessment from folks, but unfortunately, because they don't contain the quantitative data we need, we weren't able to use those. Okay, so again, please use the program assessment form. We have links here, but also you may have gotten a share notification from me a couple of weeks ago to a shared drive. I think it's called SMCC Institutional Assessment. Okay, it has a tile with a lighthouse on it. Okay, all of our assessment materials are in that shared drive. Okay, so if you ever lose, you know, that you'll always have these agenda links because they're in the meeting invitations. But if you ever are looking for something, that's the place to go. Okay, it's a globally shared drive. Everybody has read access to it, all faculty, and you know, Travis and Alice also have not only viewer access but commenter access to it. Okay, so again, if I can share my screen with you, perhaps I can bring that up. But I know in WebEx I have to stop sharing what I'm sharing to share something else. Okay, so I kind of don't want to do that. I'm sharing screen 2. Maybe I can bring this over to screen 2. Let's see. Can everybody see the tiles?
Yes.
Okay. So again, if I scroll down, here's the institutional assessment tile. This one. Okay. And if I open it, okay, we can kind of see, I'm going to try to drag this over a little more. Okay. We have subfolders in it with, we'll talk about the charter later in the meeting, but course learning outcomes, institutional outcomes. Here's all the program assessment stuff. If I double click on that, go to academic, we have aligned assessment forms. Okay. We have matrices and plans. Okay. This charter is kind of a duplicate thing. I will get rid of that. It's in the wrong place. It should be further up. Okay. But basically, here's where you go to get a blank copy of that aligned assessment form. And these are all the archived program assessments that we have done throughout the semester. Trying to double click, but it's slow. And again, I have not uploaded all of them. Okay, but you can see here's from spring. Okay. And then what we do is we summarize the key points from these forms and put them in a spreadsheet, kind of so our stakeholders, especially the HLC, can see everything at a glance without having to wade through 30 or 40 forms. Okay. But I just wanted to let everyone know where this stuff is. Okay. So again, it's in the shared drive. You go to shared drives and you look for SMCC institutional assessment. Okay, and if you have any trouble navigating that folder, just let Christine or me know about it and we'll help you. Okay, anybody questions on that? Okay. All right, next up, as far as documents, okay, we have in the yellow section here, the draft responsibilities for assessment fellows. That's what went out in the call from the VPAA's office that all of you responded to. Okay, so just wanted to put that there. This is some coaching information from the CTL on how to coach your division faculty in being able to do their own program assessment. And then here we have a list of the fall assessment activities for each division. Each one of the assessment fellows has gotten their piece of this file, okay? And what it has is, it has all the programs in your division, a link to each one's program assessment plan, as well as what we're expecting you to assess this semester in each program, okay? Does everybody, did everybody get that? Did everybody see that email? Anybody have any comments or concerns? Okay, no, I'm not hearing any. All right, the last piece here in the beige section is some draft outlines for an assessment team charter, as well as links to charters of our sister colleges that have one, okay? So Estrella, Glendale, and Paradise Valley have assessment charters. And we have two potential outline structures, which we're going to ask you to vote on in this meeting, okay? So that's there'll always be files up here at the front. They'll be carried forward. So if you ever are looking for any of the stuff we talked about, again, just go to your calendar invitation for the assessment meeting and click on the agenda, and you'll be able to see the links to these files. And these links go into that shared drive, okay, to keep you from having to search for the files. Okay, any questions on navigating files? All righty, then let's get started. Okay, we already did our introductions, and the next piece is talking about our new assessment fellows. All of you are new this semester, and again, we can't thank you enough for actually volunteering to help us do this work. This work is incredibly important, not just as far as our HLC accreditation is concerned, but assessment in general is what lets us make sure we're delivering a quality product to our students. Okay, that's the point of assessment. Are our students learning what we think we're teaching? Okay, so again, let me just click on this overview of semester's work. All right, and again, these are all links in the agenda, so everybody should get to them. And again, this is a master document that has all of the links to program assessment plans for each division. Okay, so here's CFAS, you're up first to your list. So here are the programs that need to be assessed this semester in CFAS. Okay, have the names of the program leads, okay, as well as what we think we're assessing in that program. So let's just take art. Okay, this is a link to Wiley's program assessment plan for art. And in fall 2025, he said in his plan, he was going to assess PLO 1 and Art 111, okay? And so forth, okay? Communications does not have any PLOs scheduled to be assessed. That's the reason for that is some programs have tons of PLOs, like math has 12 of them, and other programs like COM don't have as many. They have maybe 5, okay? So we are doing program assessment over a 3-year period, which is, 6 semesters. Okay, so there'll be some programs that may skip a semester, okay? And other programs where they have to double up on PLOs. Okay, is that clear to everybody why not every program is doing things the same way? Okay, and that's a result of the PLOs that were created by the Guided Pathways program back in, I think, from 2018 to 2020. Okay. All right, so again, we have counseling, which the only program we're assessing there is BHS. Here is language arts. We have 3. MCL CTL has the lion's share. I think there are 13. And Christine and I will help Richard with this so he does not get overwhelmed. We've already reached out to some of these program leads ourselves. And here's MSE. Okay. So I just wanted to share that document. Each one of the fellows has gotten an individual email with their own list. Okay, so Any questions on what we are planning to do this semester? Oh,
Marianne, I've got a question.
go ahead.
So it's not directly related to what you just said, but it has to do with previous to this meeting. You and I sat down and I looked. The PLOs for the engineering program, and I'm guessing that this could be the same for the others. When this was originally started, there were 9. And then somewhere between our last meeting last semester and our first meeting this semester, there's now 21 of them or something like that.
Right.
We had talked about them and we saw that some of them were duplicates and things like that. Is the plan that we should just go with the original ones that were in there?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. The reason, and again, this
Thank
will
God.
be true. Yeah, this will be true of any program that has subplans. Okay.
Okay.
Carl's program engineering has a ton of subplans, and those are what are generating the additional PLOs.
Okay.
What we want to do is whatever PLOs were in place when you wrote your program assessment plan, those are the ones we're assessing.
Okay.
Okay. It's impossible to track a moving target with this. It's already unwieldy. Okay. So even if the curriculum committee changes your PLOs in the middle, we're sticking with what we started with. Okay. It's much too much of a hassle to go in and constantly change your program assessment plan. Okay.
Right.
Based on things like that. Here's the other problem. Here's what Carl noticed. Okay. When he built his program assessment plan, we had created an assessment matrix just from the base engineering plan, from the base engineering program, which was the 9 PLOs he mentioned.
Yes.
When we pulled in the PLOs to Canvas, we had gotten a file from the curriculum folks, and that had all 21 PLOs. Okay. So if you notice any discrepancy like that between the PLOs that you see in Canvas and the PLOs that are in your plan, reach out to Christine and me immediately. Okay. And we will probably tell you, stick with a smaller set.
Okay. I was thinking
right.
in terms of biochemistry. Initially, it was biology and chemistry, but now they're joined, so they could potentially have the same thing as well.
Right. Most of the
Okay.
science programs do have subplans. So yeah, they're definitely going to be like that. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for mentioning that, Carl. Okay. Any questions on semester's work before we move on? Okay. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. Let us take a look at this aligned assessment form. This is the target document that we are collecting as an evidence document. Okay, we're summarizing it for the HLC so they don't have to wade through tons of documentation. But take a look at what's in here. Okay, the program name, what semester you're assessing in. If you have course learning outcomes, and remember, you can get to all of these through Canvas now, through your Canvas outcomes. Okay, you would pick a course outcome that aligns with your program outcome in your program assessment plan. The program outcomes are what's driving the process. So whatever you put in your program assessment plan for fall of 25, that's what is key in this form. So when I fill out this form, I put my PLO in here first, and then I align it to one or more of my course outcomes and one or more of the institutional outcomes, right? So this semester, right, I have a PLO that is supposed to be assessed in Math 227. I'm going to put that here. And then I'm going to look at the Math 227 course outcomes and pick one or more of them that align to my program outcome. All right. And then probably I'm going to pick quantitative literacy as my institutional outcome since it's a math class. Okay. Then what I do here in section 4 is I'm going to describe my assessment instrument. That is the assignment, one assignment in the course you said you're going to assess the PLO in. Okay, describe your assignment and describe what kind of evaluation standard you're using on that assignment. Okay, we're kind of pushing the idea of a rubric because then you can pull in the course, program, and institutional outcomes right into your rubric. You can use them for scoring, or you can choose not to and just have your own scoring criteria. But that would be the easiest way to do it, because Canvas gives you the ability to bulk dump your rubrics, and then you can see the data that you collected from all your students. Okay. Otherwise, you're stuck doing it by hand. Okay. Which is fine if that's the way you want to do it. Okay. But you want to describe what your assignment is, and then ideally what you consider proficient, like maybe 80% on a quiz or an exam, 3 out of 5 on a rubric, that sort of type of criterion. Okay. Then in section 5 is your observations. You want to tell us the number of students you assessed, how many sections were assessed, what percentage of students you expected to meet proficient as far as your evaluation criteria. That could be like, well, gee, I'd be happy if 75% of my students were proficient. And then you want to say, well, what percentage of your students did meet that level of proficiency? Hey, this was great. 80% of my students were proficient. Okay. This data needs to be here. Okay. Because this is the quantitative data we're collecting for our spreadsheet. Okay. B and C are narratives. Okay. So in section B, you can write a short paragraph, doesn't have to be like a dissertation, short paragraph saying, did you learn anything about the course in which you assessed your students? Maybe you learned, hey, this assessment was in the wrong place because students should have done this first, something like that. Okay, just as an idea. This part C is super important because this is the piece we're excerpting to put in our notice argument that we're going to be writing for the HLC. This is the part that says, what did you learn about the program? What are you going to do with that information? This is what the HLC wants to know from us, that we're doing assessment at the program level and we're using the information for something, right? So like in math, I might have learned that, gee, students really have a tough time using technology in math. Let's say I want them to use Excel to do statistics. And maybe I've learned I really need to have mini tutorials on Excel, right? The Excel solver or the Excel, the analytics package that's built into Excel. Okay, so I would say maybe we should have in general technology videos in all of our math classes, because this is not just affecting stats, it probably affects calculus as well. Okay, to show students how to use technology to help them, whether that technology is a TI-84, an online calculator, MATLAB, you name it. Okay. Does everybody understand the difference between an analysis at the course level and a higher one at the program level? Anybody have questions about that?
Marianne, I have a question, not exactly about that.
Go ahead,
but
Liz.
Related to that item C.
Mm-hmm.
So does that imply that you and Christine have to go through every single one of these and extract that?
Absolutely.
So I'm wondering if there might be a way for you to like make a Google form or tell us exactly what format you need that in.
We'd still have to extract it, Liz, from the form. Okay. So again, we want to put it in. Yeah,
there seems like there has to be a better way.
Yeah. Again, as long as we get these, what's a problem is when we get 30 of them in a lump. Okay. Like at the end of the semester, it would be great if not everybody was using a capstone project or a final project as their assessment instrument. If you did it throughout the semester, it would be less of a load. But I think even if it's in a Google form, if you've ever looked at the spreadsheet behind a Google form,
I have.
It isn't terribly. It's not something I'd want to give the HLC.
I wasn't suggesting you would give that, but if it was all populated in one place for you, you wouldn't have to go through these individually and drag them out. And maybe that's too much in the weeds for where we are right now, but I was just kind of overcome by this level of this task.
Right. And part of the reason why we do have to go through every form is we need to make sure that faculty are giving us the data we're asking for. Okay, from having gotten a couple of semesters of these now, we've
Yeah.
got 3 semesters worth of this data so far. And again, it's not all of it is in the shared drive yet, because
Okay.
I've been trying to build that as we go along. But basically, we've noticed that some folks, misconstrue what the question's asking for. If
I
you're
see.
not sure, ask us. Okay.
Okay.
Is this what you want? Are you sure? I'm not sure. Okay.
Okay.
Does that help?
Understand.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm just overwhelmed on your behalf.
They're paying us, Liz. It's okay. Okay, so basically the last piece on this aligned assessment form is the institutional outcome analysis. If we went back to the shared drive and you go into ILOs, okay, you're going to see rubrics for each one of the institutional outcomes. Okay, all you got to do is copy and paste the rubric for the ILO you're going to assess. Okay, the ILO has cells in it, so there are dimensions as you go down, and then there are evaluation levels as you go across. You just highlight the box where you think the majority of your students are. Okay, you don't need to write a narrative for that. It is literally pull the rubric, highlight the cells. Okay, and I know everybody that's on this call right now has done that at least once, okay, in your own aligned assessment. Everybody good with it? Questions? Okay, go back here. Whoops. All righty. So again, I am going to basically let you all know that the CTL, Mary Nunn, has created a team assessment fellows chat group. Okay, you might know when you're in Google Mail, you have the option to click on chat. Okay, if you want to talk to the whole group, you can do that. That's one way to do it. You're also on a distribution list, a DL, called DL SMC Assessment Committee. Okay, and so you can use that DL to communicate with everyone in the group. So there are a couple of different ways. If you want to shout out to everybody all at once, you can do that. Again, if you just go in your chat, you should see this group. Okay. Again, I'm going to let you read the assessment leaders document and the fall CTL training schedule. Okay. Mary Nunn has put together a number of training sessions that go through how to build a rubric, how to pull data from a rubric. And she's trying to get the fellows, the leads, and the chairs to all go through this training. That way everyone is on the same page. If you can get your leads to attend the training, that'll be beneficial, because then you won't have to sit with them and explain it to each one of them one by one. Okay. So Mary in particular has mentioned this coaching session, which is on Friday the 26th virtually. Okay. And again, you don't need to physically be in the CTL for it. Okay. So at this point, I'd like to ask, are there any questions? Does anybody have any concerns or needs that Christine and I can help you meet?
Marianne, this is Tim.
Yes, Tim.
I don't know that this is applicable or it makes sense, but I want to throw it out just in regard to you guys may or may not be familiar with the new Title II
Yes.
accessibility requirements, right?
Right.
And so we're convening a committee, if you want to call it, that will have representation throughout the college of different areas. Bruce and I are presenting to the executive team today kind of about that, and then the areas that are focused points that we have to kind of address. One being our public facing website, but one of the ones that is coming out, and you guys have been probably peppered with emails from the CTL in regard to content that faculty are using and creating kind of within Canvas, for example.
Right.
And making sure that that meets the accessibility requirements, because there's pretty hefty penalties that are imposed on the colleges and so forth. So I guess just in general that thinking that came up as you were demonstrating and going through the aligned assessment form that faculty will be using to do assessment of the areas. Is there an opportunity to add some component in there that relates to that, or is that really kind of outside the scope and the scheme of really what the assessment is trying to do?
That's a great question, and I appreciate that background, Tim, because I also have been on a couple of committees where the Title II accessibility requirements have been talked about a lot. I think at this point, we're trying to make sure faculty assess their program outcomes. I think that is the critical piece as far as HLC compliance. What I would suggest is we're coming up on the end of our 3-year assessment cycle. So it would be 2024, 2025, 2026. That's one cycle of program outcome assessment. I would say we should, at the end of that cycle, revisit the form. And I think we should add something about accessibility. At this point, I think based on just talking anecdotally, talking to other faculty, they're not even sure how to use Panorama to figure out what's wrong with their Canvas course. So they're still in the training phase. So I think it would be too overwhelming to ask them to do that here.
Okay, I agree. I mean, I don't know that this is necessarily the right place where this resides. I'm just right now without the committee coming up and really meeting and coming up with a way for us to quote unquote assess that we're meeting these requirements, right? I'm just looking at opportunities, and that's why I thought I'd throw it out there. But I agree with I think your assessment on that.
Thank you, Tim. And I appreciate bringing that up. And I'm going to kind of put that in the action item section of our minutes just to make sure we don't lose it, because I think it's valuable going forward. As Tim mentioned, the penalties for non-compliance with Title II are extremely, they're crippling, basically. It's like $150,000 per page per day, which, Maricopa is not in a position to afford. So this discussion will go on and on. It's not just us. But thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. Okay, so I'm not hearing or seeing any comments on this section of assessment fellows. I'm not sure if anyone, again, I can't see the tiles. I'm not sure if anyone from Student Life has joined us, but we will need co-curricular assessment every semester from 2 areas. That one is Student Life. And again, that just needs to be 1 Student Life event and 1 honors event. Okay, we put those in our revised mid-cycle argument, so those need to be assessed on an ongoing basis. We don't need any additional co-curricular assessment.
So it's Stephanie.
Hi,
So,
Stephanie.
Marianne, that means the library doesn't need to be doing this.
Right,
Okay.
right. Because again, initially, like about 3 or 4 years ago, the HLC was all gung-ho on co-curricular assessment, and since then they've kind of backed off. So we were told by our HLC, not so much our HLC liaison, but the folks in our district who are HLC reviewers themselves, they're peer reviewers, they told us, look, don't put a lot of co-curricular in your revised argument. Otherwise, the HLC will make you continue assessing them, even though that's not one of their requirements going forward.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking. Okay. All right. Any questions, any comments? Christine, am I missing anything?
No, I was just going to add that I will reach out to Student Life and support them in
Thank
their
you.
assessment of curricula. Yeah.
Right. And Christine and I also had a discussion on the side, and she had a great suggestion of possibly creating a Student Life Canvas course where they could put all of their events along with any survey information they're collecting So it's all in one place. Okay. I know one of the challenges here is getting buried in Google Drive. Okay. So we want to make sure everyone can find what they need. So thanks, Christine. Appreciate that. Okay. The other section that we have here is an assessment charter. It was suggested to us by our administration that we have a charter. And some of the reasons for that is to clarify the purpose of why we exist, why we are here, to provide guidelines for the work, to make sure we're aligning with the college's goals, okay, and to create a structure so we all know what we're doing and when, okay? So I've included, and again, I'm not going to go through them here because it'll take too long. Up at the top, there is the EMCC assessment charter, the Glendale charter, and Paradise Valley assessment charter. And what we did, okay, Christine and I we took those three charters and we used our AI friend to say, here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build an assessment charter for South Mountain. Here are South Mountain's institutional goals, right? From our college plan, our strategic plan. Create an outline of an assessment plan in the form of our sister colleges, but that meets our own goals, okay? And here's what we got as an outline, okay? It's labeled draft, okay? Very drafty draft, okay? And again, it's got a purpose, mission, vision, values, scope of work, okay? Strategic commitments. You can see some of those are assessment literacy, equity, actionable results, right? We want to make sure everybody has professional development, everybody's using the same language, okay? We're disaggregating data so we can, use it without pointing fingers at anyone. We want broad participation, okay? And we want some data that we can use to make decisions, okay? That was one thing the HLC really slammed us on last time. They said, you're collecting the data, even with program review, you're collecting it, but you're not doing anything with it. Okay, so our administration is working really hard to make sure that that pipeline is connected. Okay, that the information we give them is actually used in budgeting, hiring decisions, okay, strategic planning type things. Okay, so here's the organizational structure, who's on the committee and what roles, okay? And then the processes for assessment, how we communicate, and professional development. Last section is how do we change the charter, okay? So this outline kind of mirrors what our sister colleges have, okay? And I realize it looks kind of daunting, okay? And what we're gonna do as a group, this is the fellows as well as Christine and I, we're going to work together to fill in pieces of the charter. But let me show you an alternative. Okay, here's an alternative, which is a draft proposed by Mary Nunn. She said she's used this successfully in the past. It is much shorter. Okay, I think I have, nope, I clicked on the same one. Hold on. Okay, draft 2. No. Okay, so mission, vision, and values. Then she has critical success factors. This charter has more program management type language in it. Okay, so like you would imagine somebody who's running this. Okay, so what's a critical success factor, and what's your KPI, your key performance indicator, to meet that? Okay. Okay, here are the roles and responsibilities. Okay, chairs, assessment fellows, program leads, and chart duties. Then she has a flow chart, like how people interact with each other, and communications, which is basically, how we're going to talk with each other through the chat. Okay. and charter review and whatever. So you can see that one's only 3 pages. Okay, so we'd also have to flesh this out. Namely, we'd have to put in our key performance indicators up top. Like how are we going to measure this stuff? How can we tell our stakeholders we've met the goals of what we were trying to do? Okay, let me just, okay. So stop sharing that and come back here. Ideally, what I'd like to ask all of you, if you don't mind, is which one do you prefer? Okay. And the reason I would ask you that is if we're going to start working on these, we have to first of all pick a structure. Is it important to you that we look like our sister colleges, or do you prefer to go with something short, sweet, and to the point? Okay, so up to you. What I would ask is while I'm sharing, okay, I can't see the chat or anything. So Christine, could you please monitor the chat?
Of course.
And I would ask everyone who's here right now, please vote either 1 or 2. Which outline do you prefer?
Marianne, can I ask a question before we do that, or as we do
Sure.
that?
Sure, Liz.
What is the implication for us of choosing a charter? I mean, what is it?
Basically, it's going to define the scope of our work and what our job responsibilities are.
Then I would keep it as simple and general as possible.
Okay, well said. I know how she's
Because
voting.
I just think it gives us more flexibility.
Okay. Again, I know not everybody has had a chance to pore over the outlines in detail, but you do have a link to the agenda. So you have a link to the 2 charter outlines. Okay. One mirrors our sister colleges and is more lengthy. Okay. The second one is more project management oriented and is about 3 pages. Okay. So please vote in the chat. If you don't feel you can vote, just type in abstain. Okay, and Christine, if you would count up the votes, I'd appreciate it.
Marianne, can I ask a question?
Yes.
I clicked both links, and to me, the charters look to be about the same number of pages. So what is it that I'm not seeing?
Okay, if you click on draft 1, that's the one that's lengthy. It's similar to our sister colleges. Okay, in the agenda.
2 is
okay. 2 is short.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 is the short one, but it's more project management oriented with key performance indicators and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Okay, so 1 is the lengthy one, like our sister colleges. Okay, and 2 is the one that's short and project management oriented. Do you think it would be better to have a voice vote? Because I'm not seeing a lot. I was figured out how to get the chat, and I'm not seeing a lot in the chat. Okay.
So, Marianne, I have a question. To make
yes.
sure that I'm looking at the same thing too.
Hi,
So
Christina.
Hello. One document is 4 pages and
Yes.
one document is 5 pages.
Okay, the document
Okay.
one, draft one, is one that looks like our sister colleges. Once those sections are filled out, that document will be about 15 pages long. Okay, it's just an outline.
It's a
Okay.
template.
And
Okay.
then draft number 2 is a project management oriented outline, and it is almost complete. Okay, at 4 pages.
You know, Marianne, I don't really care. I want to know what's going to work better for you and Christine in terms of what you need to do.
Yeah, and
I
basically, again, the reason we're asking you your opinion is you're going to help us fill it out.
well, okay, but you know more about what it is and what we need to be. I
Okay.
never, I mean, I'm always reluctant because I don't want to be hemmed in by something that I don't want to be responsible for later when I don't understand the implications. But
Okay.
you do. So
Okay.
I'm happy
Again,
to trust you and Christine and what you think is better.
the only implication is it's laying out what your role is. That's the, but you already know what your role is, right? You're going to be helping the program leads in your division, okay, handle their program assessment. That's what you're doing. And the idea is you're going to do your best to ensure that each one of those leads provides a completed aligned assessment form
Sure.
by the end of the fall.
Okay, and
That-
in your assessment number 2 is clearer on that?
They're both going to have that stuff in it. It's just, it's kind of, do you prefer a narrative style, which is what number 1 is, or do you prefer a tables, here's the tables, here are the key KPIs, you know, look at the tables and decide. Okay, so it's kind of a stylistic. Okay, so I'm seeing comments in the chat where some people are saying draft two. Callan, yes, of course your vote counts. Carl, did you get your questions answered? Do you want to vote again?
Well, in the end, I don't care what it is because I think you and Christine are more experienced at this than I am. And knowing what this is, I think number 2 would be a better one, but I'm just more familiar with number 1.
Yes.
Number 2 is going to require a little bit of training, or at least looking through it to understand it.
Yes,
So,
and that was my concern. I would imagine if anybody'd ever seen a charter, either for program review or assessment or any other kind of project charter, it would look more like 1, but 1 is narrative, and when all the information is put into it, it will be lengthy. And in my experience, people don't like lengthy documents as far as a resource to go in and read, you know?
So what do you think, Marianne?
I could use either one of them.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking the same thing. I could
Yeah, I
go
could
either
use
way.
either
So
one.
in the end, I don't really care which one we pick. Just tell me.
Okay, all right. So is that the general consensus, that nobody has a strong feeling one way or the other, and you just want something that'll be usable?
Well,
Anybody have?
Marianne, when you look at the chat, a lot of people did weigh in for number 2.
Yeah, I see you. Hi,
But
Richard.
I don't know
see
if
you
that's the
there.
majority or not, but and
Yeah.
Richard's giving you a thumbs up. So
And what about you, Liz? You typed in a 1. Is that what you
no,
want to
I
go?
was trying, I misplaced. I was trying to write I am, but
Oh, I got you. Okay.
totally screwed it up.
Would you say
so-
then that, would everyone agree based on the chat, a majority of people prefer 2 at this point? Is anybody, okay, Callan says yes. Anybody disagree? Would you say the majority prefers 2?
I don't disagree. I voted 1 only because of what was just talked about with you and Carl of what is familiar versus what is unfamiliar.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
But it wasn't
Okay.
a matter of ease of use one way or the other. It was a matter of what would make the most or require the least amount of training. But then again, is it easier to train people, get them ready, and then the smaller document makes the most sense? I
Yeah.
don't have a
I know the
job on that,
CTL is planning some training on the whole project management view of things. So, you know, if you take a look at the CTL schedule coming up and you can attend, I know some of the trainings will be given multiple times virtually and in person, depending. So people have the option. Like I said, I could use either document. Again, we know what we need to accomplish. If any of you has questions about what you need to accomplish, please contact Christine or me. Okay, we're ultimately in charge of collecting this evidence for the HLC and archiving it. So any of your questions should come to us about what you think you should be doing. Okay, so the charter is there pretty much to put it in writing that yes, we all agree that this is what we're trying to do. Okay. Again, I don't want us to get hung up too much on this. I don't think it's a critical thing at this point. Okay. We'll talk at the next meeting about coming up with subgroups to work on that. Okay.
So just to clarify, we decided on the draft number 2.
That's my understanding. Any
Okay,
disagreement?
we have a majority here.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay, the last item that we have here is we are still in the middle of our 3rd program review cycle. Remember, program review is separate from program learning outcome assessment. We do program learning outcome assessment every program, every semester. Program review, each program does a program review every 3 years, okay? And it's done according to a schedule. Right, we kicked off fall 2025 with CFAS, CTL, and learning support. Okay, so those programs will need to have a draft of their program review before spring break in 2026. Okay, and a final draft by May. Again, we shared links to the data. The data is in our SMCC data dashboards, which are accessible from Inside South. If you are in CFAS, no one's here from CTL, and Dan, you're here from Learning Support. If you have any trouble finding data, let us know. Okay, CTL and Learning Support, you're pretty much going to be collecting your own data because the only data in our dashboards have to do with student enrollment, completion, and success. Okay, but if you have any questions about what needs to go in your program review, okay, we still have plenty of time till our first draft date, so please ask. Okay, thanks. Questions on that? Okay. All right, open discussion. We still have a few minutes, like 3 minutes left. We can stay a little longer if people don't have other commitments. Anybody want to talk about anything? I'm going to stop sharing so I can come back and see all of you. Yay, there you are. Okay. Anybody want to discuss anything else to do with assessment, program review? Okay. I mentioned all our institutional program and course outcomes are now available in Canvas Outcomes. Okay, so that's an easy way for you to find them rather than having to search. Okay, but any questions at any time, please reach out to Christine or to me. Right. Are we doing okay? How are you doing? Okay,
Marian,
I know it.
I have a couple questions, but I just wanted to ask you when we were done, like just you and me.
Oh, okay. Just hang on then after it's finished. And you too, Christine, if you don't mind hanging on for a minute. Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? Okay. Don't see any hands. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to end the recording.